Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live stream where I'm focusing on NFTs, the Tron blockchain, and a particular artist out of Sweden named Johannes Wessmark. And he's a hyperrealism artist that has brought his artwork to Tron. And I wanted to kind of, do an examination of it, making sure everybody can hear me. And yes. Okay. So, lots been going on in the Tron NFT world. For one, there is a. Oh, hold on. I got a chat here. What is that? Some kind of. Hmm. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I've got a chat message here, but I'm not able to pull it up very well. That's one of the problems with this Restream software is not everything works perfect on it. Like there's a lot going on here and I can't access it. But anyway, if you send me a chat message, I may not see it right away. Sorry, but there we go. I just followed you, and my friend just got this creator code. Okay, yeah, somebody's spamming it already. Isn't that great? Okay. um, I wonder how many audience members they're trying to get a hold of. This is a pretty focused live stream here, but so anyway, there's been a lot going on in the Tron um, NFT world, and we started with ones like Tron Punks and moved into the apes, and we've since exploded. And there's a whole lot, and I don't even want to try to start mentioning them all, like Tron Ninjas and the Tron Entertainers, because there's just so many really good projects out there. Tron Bulls, Tron Toro, and then we had an artist like Super Buddha show up on the Tron blockchain, which that was an awesome event. Happened a couple weeks ago. Um, Probably one of the highest selling uh, NFTs minted on the Tron blockchain was by Super Buddha. I think he did I think it was 300,000 Tron bids, so roughly $30,000. But it's just good to see that, and I like artists coming to the NFT world of Tron. Not that the gorillas aren't um, art, they are, but they're computer generated, right? It's all about randomization, and that's the interesting concept of NFTs is the characteristics that can be embedded in the NFT and become part of what defines the uniqueness of that NFT. And so far, we've seen that in with the Board Ape Yacht Club, stuff like that. Let me pull that up real quick. Board Ape Club Tron. These guys, these guys are probably one of the more successful um, Tron NFT projects. But guess what? They can't get their mutants out either. I don't know how many they've got, and they've got partnerships with Ape NFT, and it's a these all trace back to the Ethereum ones. The marketplace is getting more sophisticated, where you can sort by this. I always like to look at highest bid price. So the bid is embedded here in blue, right? So this one's 2,000 Tron. This one's 2,800. 2,870 Tron. But here's the ask price, right? So you're seeing some astronomical ask price. That's probably because of what they're seeing on OpenSea with the Ethereum blockchain, which that gets pretty interesting. 1,000 Tron for a lot of these, so we hadn't really seen the floor take off, probably like everybody would want it to. NFTs just kind of arrived at Tron, got hot, and then faded just a little bit. I mean, they're being actively bought and sold every day, and I think that there is going to be a rise in interest. But I keep going back to this page here with the horse, right? This is a new project coming up on Tron, and it's had a couple false starts, right? So it hasn't been a perfect project, but not everything on there is. But not everything in crypto is perfect on the launch, right? And what we're seeing is some really high quality graphics. The concept, if you start looking at the white paper and the economics of this game, upcoming game, Win NFT Horse, that's kind of an odd name, but just remember these are developers from China, and Chinese phrases don't always translate perfectly into English, and I don't know if that played into the title or not, or they just wanted to tell you that it's a horse and we're going to be using Win and we're going to be using NFT. Me, I like it because I've got a lot of Win, and I got a lot of NFT, and I'm interested in these horses. Really cool graphics here, but where the gorillas were all about these characteristics, like if it's wearing a hat, if it's got something in its mouth, the metallic skin. But at the end of the day, the whole game of these bored apes is about how rare it is, and that's why we have this rarity rank. So now the bored ape Tron Yacht Club guys trace back to the Ethereum guys, and we can see here that here's the Ethereum version, and then if we go to OpenSea, we can see what a current bid is on it. Highest offer is $201,000 for this one. So don't discount these 10,000 randomly generated apes, right? Because on the Ethereum network, it's a lot of money going on. So, but at the end of the day, it's just artwork here. Like there's no three-dimensional thing. It's just this is it, right? But it traces back to you. But it does have these characteristics. See these properties: purple. It's wide-eyed. It's got the robot fur. And look, you see the percentages. Only 3% have this, while 13% have the purple background. Only 2% are wearing the hat. So all this comes together for this rarity rating, and you can see where the floor started way like $35, and then it went to 12,000, then 176, and now 200,000. And there's just a general feeling is going to keep going higher. But I own a lot of the Tron version of these apes. They're not worth anywhere near that, but who knows? Maybe one day they will be. And I like them, but when at the end of the day, it's just something to look at, right? So when NFT Horse is taking this in another direction, they're making the horse game a racing game, and they're making it into using the NFT characteristics to define the horse, about how fast it runs or how well it does on certain tracks, and kind of handicapping, and that's pretty cool. And so that takes NFT into something called GameFi, and there's a more than one GameFi project, but this is a big one on Tron. Highly anticipated. It's had a couple false starts. False start number one was I think it was going to start a couple weeks ago, and then at the last minute, something went wrong with they were giving away, or not giving away, there was a pre-sale of these boxes that were going to have a horse and some, you know, saddles and stuff like that inside of it, and it was kind of a precursor to the game starting. And right about when that was going to launch, something went wrong, and then an announcement come up that they decided to kind of blend in with Binance and launch it on Binance's IGO platform, initial game offering. And so that started, that delayed things, and they changed things up, and then they tried to do another pre-sale of the horses, and they get hit with a DDoS attack. And if you deciphered Justin's tweets, it almost sounds like possibly somebody on the inside tried to buy up all the horses. Justin become aware of it, shut it down, basically hit the reset button, and is going to live stream in 2 days and announce the winners of some free horse NFTs. That is the precursor to the game launch, and we're all waiting for the game to launch. You can apply to this whitelist to possibly get something free, and then one thing that you got to understand is it's an application. It's not. This is not going to be HTML 5.0 or whatever. This is an application, and there's an Android version, a Mac version, and a PC version. I downloaded the PC version, an early version of it. It's all Chinese um, load scripts. Once you get into the game, there's English, but I found that to be pretty interesting. You can read the white paper and you can look at the economics. There's a lot going on there. There's about how the balance of NFT tokens, Wink tokens, and Tron tokens. There's a lot going on. And what's really cool is Justin tweeted out some stuff saying that he's going to look at a way to make holders of Tron, BTT, Wink, Ape NFT. Basically, it sounded like a dividend program. So typically, when something like that happens, it's about how much you stake. So he said they're looking into it. They're going to figure it out. But very very promising, So we've got some pretty good successful projects on Tron regarding NFT. We got some really cool ones on the way, and we've kind of there's more than one Tron marketplace. There's NFT One. There's several smaller ones, but we've kind of gravitated toward um, Uswap NFT is pretty big on NFTs. They're trying to make a very robust marketplace and adding some features like royalty, stuff like that. And then the other one is Craftly. Craftly's a really good one. And one of the things I wanted to point out is we've got this page that is Johannes Wessmark. He is a photorealist artist working in acrylic and oil on canvas, and his whole description is here. But basically, he was born in Sweden, and he's a self-taught artist, and he's a photorealist, hyper real they kind of call it. He's had some success here on Craftly. He's had some sales. Um, but this is fine art. This is different than the gorillas. This is different than the horses. This is not motion. This is just it's like putting an oil painting on your wall, right? And I think that's a whole nother lane in the NFT business. There's going to be these randomly generated, like the Bored Apes. There's going to be the GameFi part where the functionality of the NFT becomes part of the game. And then there's going to be this, what I like to call proof of ownership. Like there might be 10,000 copies of something out there, but you are the owner of this particular NFT that is, published on whatever blockchain like Tron. And I think that's going to be a big thing because these paintings, you can basically when you win the auction, when you buy one of the features that Johannes does is he'll allow you to download a higher resolution version of it than what Craftly only allows you, like, what is it, like 2 megabytes right now. I'm hoping that they can fix that one day, but um, if you were to try to print out the actual NFT that you get on Craftly, it's simply not going to maybe have the resolution that it would. Um, I'm going to look at one of his photos here. Like, I mean, this looks really good, right? I keep calling it a photo, but I need to point out this is not a photo. This is an acrylic and oil painting, and the originals are done on canvas, and then he does some very high resolution prints where he signs them, and they're limited edition. And he's decided to release several on Tron, and so this looks like a photograph, right? But it is most definitely a painting. This is what hyperrealism is, and it's really breathtaking. I've seen his prints in galleries at art shows, and I can tell you that just standing there looking at them in high resolution, they're beautiful. And I've also seen his actual um, paintings, right? Like I've seen several of them, and they're breathtaking. And so it's really cool that he brought his artwork to Tron, because so far Tron hasn't had a whole lot of fine art. There's certainly some there, but this is uh, this is probably some of the most serious artwork that is entered the Tron NFT space, and really the NFT space, at all. So I wanted to show some of his work. Um, he does figurative. He does, obviously, he does these cars. He kind of does some whimsical stuff here. But one of the things that I really like what he does is he does an exploration of like translucence and opaqueness and fluid dynamics, and he figures out how to paint that in such a way that he blends the obviously digital art, but he blends it with this photorealism that it tricks your eyes. It really does. And probably one of the things that he is challenged with a lot is people think that his artwork is actually a photograph, and oftentimes some of his artwork starts as a photograph. Like he has a photograph that he's decided to replicate and paint, right? And so, but this right here is not a photograph. As much as it looks like one, it is not. This is photorealism. This is hyperrealism. And what he starts to imagine is the position of the sun and how the shadows fall, and how does that look when you're going through glass versus just in the atmosphere, and what do reflections look like, and what does he reflect, and and all this at the same time he's showcasing these classic cars. Like this is a Volvo P1800. you know um, Really, really amazing work he does when you start to begin to understand that it's not just the blue. And I love Lincoln Continentals, by the way, but it's not just the blue. It's not just, hey, this looks cool. It's what's reflected. It's what's in focus and what's not in focus. It's just incredible. This baby blue Lincoln Continental, like they don't make anymore. That's for sure. Um, here's another study in reflection. I mean, to recreate this in such a way that it looks like a photograph is just it's kind of mind blowing. And I know like everybody has different levels of artistic talent, and it can be developed and focused. But like I would struggle just to be able to draw and paint a car that looks reasonably like a car, like that you could glance at and go, "Oh, that's a car." Forget me trying to make it to where you could tell what the make or the model or anything like that. But this artist, Johannes Wessmark, he is able to draw this out, paint it, and take this to a level to where your mind challenges you about whether this is painted or is it a photograph. And um, one site that I think does a good job of kind of explaining this is this art station. So this site, the Imprint, and I'll tweet out this link. This is where you can go to buy these prints, and you can get different sizes and different um, where you're getting figurative or still life or all that stuff. But he also does a really fascinating study on. Well, I mean, it's fluid dynamics. It's the forming of waves, and high water lines, reflectivity, opaqueness. I mean, you could study this painting and really just start to understand what he is working through when he makes these paintings. Like it's it's one thing to capture God's glory in nature, but to understand the realism, the hyper realism that he brings. And one of the things that I found fascinating is this site, which is called ArtStation, Johannes Wessmark ArtStation, has several examples of how he has sketched this out and then starting to paint over it. Right. So I mean, so he envisioned it with these lines, and then he starts to paint, and this is a finished product. And this, I don't know if it's going to stream well, but here is a video of him in flight. This is an in-flight video, him painting this awesome Lincoln Continental baby blue tail fin. That's the chrome accents there. So we're talking, how are you going to show the reflection? Where are the shadows going to lie? It's what a camera captures automatically. Johannes expresses in art, and it's just amazing to me. There's a few really good examples of this too. Now, one of the things you just got to understand is as he appreciates nature and obviously women, and he captures a beautiful form of women in a variety of settings. But it's also, if you start to notice some themes, like what he does, what's really a lot of artists have to shy away from, because they just cannot bring it to this level of realism where it looks good. But this study of water, I mean, how it refracts light, and how like in this particular one, Beauty in Blue. This is an oil painting. The original oil painting is 40 inches by 60 inches. So we're talking about a 5 foot wide oil painting. I mean, this is practically life size here. And the she's swimming on her back, and maybe she just kind of fell backwards into a swim, and you can see that it's outdoors. The sunlight is here. You can see the waves, and how do you imagine waves? Like that's a natural thing, a natural occurring. But in this painting, he's imagining and recreating with brushes, and it's amazing. So here's more of these photos that shows um, his development, right? And here's a detailed shot where you get a little closer. This interaction of where the water crest, where it breaks. I mean, this is just amazing with the light and the waves, and it does mess with your mind. You think you're looking at a photograph, but nope, he painted this. Let's look at a couple other examples. So here's another study. Like, can can you just imagine how hard it would be to draw and then paint wet hair? To me, I would struggle for the viewer to understand that I had painted hair, right? For Johannes, the struggle is to understand what wet hair is going to look like, how the shadows are going to fall on it, what's going to shine, what's going to reflect, what's going to absorb. And to think that this is a painting is just mind blowing, right? And here it is, y'all. Here he is painting it. I mean, I could just imagine like the complete understanding of oil and acrylic and the blending and what you need to do, to just the surface profile of how you're going to paint this and make it into its final form. Like how are you envisioning there that it's going to end up like this? And this flawless. It's flawless. So here's another one called Submerged, same body of water. This is another 40 by 60. This is a huge oil painting. And look, his paintings, are shown in galleries around the world, and they go for very high prices, right? Like, um, he's a living artist. His art will probably go for millions of dollars, 100 years from now. But right now, I mean, he is a full time, very serious artist, and stuff is seen all over the world. And I'm very happy to see it on the Tron blockchain. But here's another example. Here he is painting it, right? Look at this work in progress. Now I'm trying to understand where that. Oh, okay, yeah, that's her lower torso here. This is him painting it, and you can see what he's doing. He's imagining the surface waves, the ripples in the water, and how it's going to affect how the light bounces off her skin. Completely amazing. And this is, these are real models often. Sometimes they're reference photos. See, here's a reference photo. This is an amazing one. And here you can see the development, right? So he paints a lot of the water, a lot of the surface first, and then brings in the model. And here's this amazing interaction of water and light and texture. Just really amazing. Now, if there's any children in this audience, please turn off here, because we're going to look at some of his more risque work. But it's not to be titillating. It's not to be, you know, anything other but a study of the female form. But it's actually a study of his amazing attention to detail. Right, like here. I mean, just looking at the this is acrylic on paper, but look at the tan lines, right? Like, imagine trying to recreate that. And here's another good video. So he's got a gold necklace with reflection. It amazes me all the reflection that he has to think about, with every stroke, and how water is going to collect and drip, and the human body parts, and how they are going to interact with these elements. There's another example. Like, look at the reflection in the goat. Again, these are not photographs. Now, some of these are based on photographs, but here he is. Here he is painting it, y'all. It is truly, it's stunning. It's stunning. Um, and here's another one with it's called Boundless. And the reflection of trees and how the waves form, recreating that so perfectly, and the model in the water. Here he is at work. This is a smaller one. This is one of those 5 foot wide ones, but still an amazing, amazing piece of art. So as part of this live stream, as I was communicating with Johannes about wanting to profile his work, um, he agreed to um, let us have an NFT that I minted last night, and we're going to give away free to someone that either watches this live stream or watches a replay of it. And I get probably more views on replays than I do when I go live, because I don't always do a good job of announcing it and building the hype. I need to get better at that. But whoever likes and retweets this particular live stream on Twitter, we're going to randomly pick one person and uh, send you the NFT to your wallet. So he does these beautiful, beautiful nude and female beauty paintings. But let's also take a look at some of his nature stuff. Again, just recreating nature in such a way that you think you're looking at a photograph. Now, here is a scene from Snoopy's Belly in Sedona, Arizona. Um, he has the original and the print of this available. And if you've ever seen this in person, and I haven't seen this specific scene, but as I've traveled around the country and seen like the Badlands and all that, one of the most amazing things about these sedimentary layers is it tells the Earth's history, right? And looking at them, it's beautiful. We can see times of flood and fire and lots of history in this, and he recreates this, and again in such a way, like even with the sage down here, you think you're looking at a photograph. It's amazing, and yet here he is. He sketched it out first and then paints over it. It's just like, how do you take that and turn it into that? Well, obviously he's very good at it. Let's see what we got now. Again, he likes to study water. Now here's a watercolor, right? That's amazing. That looks like a photograph also. He did that in watercolor. Think about that. I mean, I'm not an artist, but I know a watercolor artist, and I've never seen anything look this real in watercolor before. And, hyperrealism is not exclusive to Johannes. He's just what I believe in that. And actually, I've heard this described as he's pushing the limits of photorealism. Like he's expanding it, like we've never seen some of these elements before. And here in America, there are other hyper real artists, and it's kind of a thing here. But if I understand it right, in his homeland, it is not a typical approach to art, and so he's a bit of a renegade that he's taken on this. So here's Frosty Grass acrylic on canvas. They've got a spelling typo there, but this amazingly. Okay, now he's not just taking on fluid dynamics and water, but he's taking on water as it freezes in the crystalline form that it takes. I mean, it's just amazing. And here he is, work in progress. And you're probably starting to understand why he takes so many work in progress shots. It's to prove that he did this, that he's painting this, that he created this, because his final product. I mean, I want to hang this stuff on my walls just so people go, "Oh, what a cool photograph," and then I get to tell them that's not a photograph, right? How about this magnolia bloom? I can smell this magnolia just looking at this. It's amazing. Okay, let's look at now these items. Most of these happen to be on Craftly right now. So be aware of that. These are NFTs that are already on the Tron blockchain. So this is one of my favorites. It's called a confession. Two stones, a piece of glass, and it's got it's as if you're giving confession here. But look at the study of how the light treats the glass. and how the edges of the glass are, and how it moves through, and all of this. Just to point out again, this is a painting. This is not a photograph. I showed these corks on the Craftly side earlier, but I wanted to show you. In fact, I happen to have it pulled up right here, Chlorella, right? Amazing, amazing. But when you start to look at the detail, right? This is a cork, wine bottles. You can see the styrations in the natural styrations in the cork, and the distress from being pulled from the bottle. And then you look and see how it got there, right? Here's the beginning of the styrations or fissures. Maybe they would be better described as fissures. And look at the size of this painting. Like right here, um, it seems smaller, but here's perspective. Just amazing that he sees this in his mind and can recreate it on canvas or whatever. I just like this Rolex. I mean, that looks like a photograph. I mean, there's just the way the light is reflecting off this, the diamond, the glass. See, we got see the it's not glass. What is this called? Is it quartz? It's like a crystal, or sometimes it's sapphire, right? But look at the gold inlays. Look at the detail. And I've always wanted to ask him if this time is significant. Does this particular time, or was it just, or is it just what the photograph of the Rolex was? But here we can see the development, the work in progress, and mentions about where it was shown at. Here he is painting it. Look at this perspective. Look at the detail on those crowns. And look at this. Here he is at work. Did you think when you first saw this? Did you think this in real life was that big? That's just amazing. And then he chose to take a look at even something like donuts. This is acrylic and oil on canvas. It looks so real that I want to go get donuts right now. That's how bad that is. But look, here he is painting it. Just amazing. Let's look at animal paintings. Animals very tough to do. I've heard people talk about how hard it is to do a horse, to paint a horse convincingly. Look at this. It looks like maybe, oh, this is in Algeria. This oil painting is after a photo my father took in 1965. El Kaya is a form of a horse show in Algeria. So this photograph's from 1965, and he recreated it in an oil painting that is just stunning. And that's so 65. That's 60 years ago, people. 60 years ago, and this looks just as lifelike and real as if someone took the picture yesterday. Here it is in progress. Look at him bringing that horse to life. Johannes really did his father memory here very good. It was an excellent photograph, right? But he made it into an incredible painting. Good job. Acrylic airbrush painting and a little colored pencil work on paper. Amazing. Look at the texture. I just imagine when he gets to these areas that he's in another world. He's in a zone, right? Like you can't recreate that without being in some zone. And look at the technique. And he's got a brush and an airbrush, and he's texturing, and how does he turn this mechanical manual process into that? Amazing. And the actual cat is looking like, whoa, what have you done? Beautiful. Beautiful. Taurus carnivorous, very rare and extremely dangerous predator, lives only in the forest north of Fagerås in Sweden, hunting in group and feeding mostly of bear and moose. This photo is the only one known, taken with a camera found in the area in 1992. So we don't know much about this photograph, but this is a extremely dangerous predator, and they found the camera laying somewhere. So you know what that means? The guy that took this photo probably got a little too close to Taurus here. Probably got a little too close. And so here is our work in progress. Isn't that amazing? Let's look at car paintings again. Isn't this beautiful? Jaguar F-Type. This is airbrush on canvas. Look at the reflection. Look at the shine. Like, look at the difference in texture, right? Because you see the shine on this paint and versus street. And what is shine? Like when you look at something and it's polished in wax, like what is that? Well, what it is evenness, right? The wax fills in the spaces and gaps of the surface so that light reflects off of it differently than when it hits those peaks and valleys of a rough surface. So this is a rough surface, and it's to the point where lighting is fascinating in general. If you've ever, like, I've had some brushes with lighting with regards to commercial installations and how different paint surfaces, treat lighting, like eggshell versus matte versus gloss, and it's that like a matte surface is irregular, and when the light hits it, it diffuses, and a lot of times you can use something like that to prevent so that you don't see flaws in the substrate or unevenness or whatever, because there's a light diffusion at the surface, which basically happens on asphalt also, because it's a very rough surface, where this car is a very polished wax surface, a very even application there, and that's what shine is. And it's one thing, like a lot of work went into getting that car to that point. I'm talking about in reality when they took the photo, but to recreate this in such a way that you can understand the difference in the surface of the the car and the road, like such a different profile in the surface profile, such a delta there, right? It's And then just throw in the reflections and how the light's coming off of it. It's just amazing. Here's a close up of it. I mean, if I had this car, I'd want this painting. I want this painting anyway, but and so here we are. Like, this fascinates me. So he's trying to understand this carbon fiber, slightly less than black, and he's envisioning how to blend so that it just perfectly is shown here. Like that's just amazing to me. Here we go again. Every stroke, he's imagining the surface profile, how it's going to react to the light, the shadows. Really amazing. Um, 3D models for sale. We'll look at that. I want to see what we got at NFTs. Oh, good, beautiful, beautiful. He also does these digital artworks, right? And here they are on OpenSea. He has these on the Ethereum blockchain as well as the Tron blockchain. So just like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, there's a Ethereum version and a Tron version. Beautiful, beautiful. Now his 3D artwork isn't necessarily NFTs, could be, but I've looked at these before and they're really, really fascinating. Old castle model. So he mocks these up. This is a physical item. I bet some of these game players would like some of these models. Well, what is this? A warehouse with conveyors for cranes for high storage of pallets and boxes. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Imagining the workflows in this warehouse. I wonder, was this a prototype for a build? Because I can tell you, way back in the 80s, before we had 3D modeling and AutoCAD 3D, when we built petrochemical plants, we would do models like these. And it was really helpful when you had pipe and hangers and insulation and wall penetrations and all that. We would actually go look at the model, and these engineering companies had people, you know, like Johannes, but nowhere near on this level. But they had people that their whole career was creating these models, and that kind of started to go away in the '90s. And then when the 3D software come out, it was really done. But look at this detail, amazing. Okay. Digital art is the what he's creating on a computer, but look how he's pushed some of the boundary on this. Just playing with marvelous designers. So this is a nice little view into Johannes. Maybe what he's thinking about next, what direction he's going next. A lot of tools out there. I think this is actually pretty funny. Don't play with your food. So a marmalade on toast, right? Rendered in light wave. Isn't that amazing? And for the first time ever, I do a quick drawing like this after a photo. Then I added the colors in Corel Painter. Very satisfying to explore a new way of working. Drawing on paper, colors in Corel. That is amazing. So he drew this out, and then he put it in Corel Painter and added the colors. I work with another artist that does this. He draws everything by hand. Kevin Bruce Brown. His stuff is on Craftly also, but he draws stuff out, loads it up on the computer, adds color, and that's his process. Okay, so I'll tweet these links out, but just in print, and you search for Johannes Wessmark, and you'll see all these various sites, various items that you can, these prints that you can buy. Look how beautiful that is. These are paintings, y'all, not photos. And as I saw someone on Reddit talking about Johannes, it's a photo, it's a paint. Okay, oftentimes what we see is a photograph of a painting that is a painting of a photograph. Okay, so this is no, that's not. I clicked on. You may also enjoy. Okay, I went off topic there. Sorry. Let me just. Oh, I wanted to show y'all some of this digital art he does with these minifigures. But again, a study in reflection and fluid dynamics and surface dynamics, shadowing, lighting, amazing. You can you can see that he is fascinated with science because fluid dynamics and all that is very much in play in his paintings and creations. These are pretty cool.
Are you done?
All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed tonight's live stream. Did a deep dive into Johannes's work. Um, he's described here as a hyperrealist artist with gallery representations in the United States, Sweden, Great Britain, the Netherlands, Mexico City. And a quote from him here is, "I am mostly painting figurative and landscapes, but commission works can, of course, be whatever the customer wants. Other than hyper realistic paintings, I also make drawings on paper." And he has a background as an illustrator and computer graphics artist, and he teaches airbrush and photorealism in general. For more of my art, visit my website at johanneswessmark.se. He's very all over the internet, very big presence out there. So take a look at his stuff, and then realize that it's here on Craftly and on the OpenSea for the Ethereum blockchain. And here's the one we're going to give away tonight. It's called Summer. Beautiful, beautiful painting. All right, so if you're interested in getting this NFT, all you have to do is like this live stream and retweet it. And I guess what I'll do is this time tomorrow night, I'll randomly select someone that liked and retweeted, or you can leave a comment saying, "Yes, I want this." That would be helpful because some people may not be into the NFT side. And so if you want to leave a comment, and we'll give this away in 24 hours. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Have a nice evening, and I will see you next time.